If you have homeschooled for more than one day, you know that a schedule just doesn't work. Kids are kids, and they're not robots. The best laid plans often stay as plans when we have a schedule in mind. Too strict of a schedule leads to disappointment and frustration. Yes, I don't want to necessarily say, can I get an amen? Because it's not a good thing. But when we have such a strict schedule, oftentimes mom is the one that's disappointed. The mom is the one that's frustrated. And our kids, I don't know if they're necessarily disappointed that we didn't get the chores done, we didn't get all the homeschool done, but they can get frustrated too because mom has this idea of the way that the day is going to go, and it just didn't happen. And so they carry on our frustration. There is a way, though, to accomplish homeschool that doesn't require a strict schedule, but it does allow you to get done what you need to get done and hopefully what you want to get done. Enter what is called a homeschool rhythm. A homeschool rhythm can be the best friend of a type A homeschool mom and a type B homeschool mom. Welcome to Little by Little Homeschool Podcast. I am Leigh Nguyen, a mom who never intended to homeschool, but all these years later couldn't imagine a better life for my family. My hope is that I may offer you the encouragement I so desperately needed to begin and continue through all the years of home education. I am so glad you're listening to this episode, so let's get into today's topic. A schedule tends to have a strict beginning and a strict ending time, which is not all bad for all seasons of life, but when you use it as a framework for getting up in the day, ending your day, that can be a really good thing as a homeschool mom. That's who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to the CEO of a company that has a strict schedule because they have a lot to accomplish. And there are times in life that a schedule can work well. Think about the times when you were probably pre-children, maybe before you got married, but definitely before you started having children and you worked outside of the home and having a schedule for the day. Well, I have to be at work at 7:30 in the morning and it takes me 20 minutes to get there and then to walk through the parking lot. And so you're like, I have to be pulling out of my driveway by 7:03 a.m., whatever time it was. I remember coming with ridiculous to-the-minute times. But a schedule is good then so that you accomplish what you need to accomplish in order to get to your job and then perform the job that you are hired for and then to come home. So life with children, though, and them being all home, the goal would be for your house to be more peaceful, and a rhythm is what can help you accomplish that. Now, a rhythm can have time blocks. As I was referring to, when you worked outside the home, and maybe some of you do work outside the home, and so you can relate to that. But let's just think about the full-time woman. My daughter is 23, and she has a full-time job. And so she has a schedule for her day, especially in her morning. She has a time that she needs to get up so that she can accomplish what she needs to accomplish in order to get on the road and get to work. Now, the winter makes it a little bit more hectic when we have some snowstorms and that kind of stuff, but that's what she has in the morning. And when I began having kids, I was like, even before I started homeschooling, I was like, okay, a rhythm is good on the weekends. So when they were in school, we had to have a schedule for the morning, or we weren't going to get out the door on time and they weren't going to have all of the things that they needed during the day. So a rhythm, though, isn't just always a free for all. We can have time blocks, and we're going to break those down and kind of give you a roundabout time block. We'll say in air quotes schedule. Don't hold me back. Don't be like, wait a minute, you just said schedule. But we can have time blocks. There can be a framework. And then within that, we can have a rhythm. And we're talking today about a daily rhythm for your homeschool. And when I say daily, it's going to be like your school days. Your weekends can have a different type of rhythm. But let's focus on what traditionally is Monday through Friday homeschool days. So a routine on the other side, though, is typically means A happens, then B happens, then C happens. And I love those, like I was mentioning, for certain seasons. And you can definitely thrive when you have a day that is more of a scheduled type of day and you have a routine. This happens, A happens, B happens, C happens. Kind of like in the morning, my daughter getting ready to go to work, or if your kids are in school, you're like, okay, we need to get up and we need to maybe get washed up, and then we're going to eat breakfast, and then we're going to brush our teeth and make sure your beds are made. That whatever the routine is that you have for a day, but you have a very tight schedule, like time zones kind of that you have to work within at that time. And so A schedule and a routine of A happens and B happens, C happens and D happens really is good, and you can thrive in certain seasons with that. And that might be really applicable for days that you have to get out the door. Maybe you have to be at co-op at 9 a.m. And so that morning, there definitely has to be a routine. And I've said many, many times, our morning routine really begins the night before. So if in the morning you do need to get out the door, you have to be thinking about that the night before. Everybody's getting to bed on time. But before they get to bed, let's reverse engineer that and say, what should we have out and have ready in order to be successful the next morning? But for the sake of today's episode, let's talk about how we can thrive better with a rhythm when you're homeschooling, and let's focus on days that you are home with your homeschooling. And so you can rest assured that I still work through this type of rhythm, and I'm just homeschooling my one final teen, and we still have a rhythm. We have parameters for times, start times, end times. We have times that we're getting up. He's a little bit more scheduled with the time that he gets up because he wants to go to the gym, get a workout in order to get home for a 7:30 a.m. Bible study that he does with his dad, with my husband, James. So he has more of a schedule for that, but then the rest of the morning is a bit more of a rhythm. So you can kind of see how that can work, especially for teens. They can have schedules, especially when they start getting a job, and it's good for them to understand that there are times for schedules. Maybe this isn't a popular thing to say, but with homeschool, yes, a rhythm, but we also have to teach our kids as they get older to operate within some type of more strict routine and more of a schedule, because that might be expected of them when they get out into the world. Yes, we know they're already out in the world, but as they get their first jobs, and maybe then when they move out, and there's certain things that are required and that need to be accomplished. But in the day in and day out of you homeschooling 1, 2, 3, 20 gaggle of kids, what should a daily kind of like rhythm look like? So the definition of rhythm is a strong, regular, repeated pattern of movement. Now, the definition had on the end and sound, but we're going to focus on movement. So I'm going to read that again. The definition of rhythm is strong, regular, repeated pattern of movement. Regular and repeated. That means that most days during the week, this is what is going to be happening. When we do things over and over, they become a habit. And the way that our day is laid out, it just becomes what we do. When your kids get up in the morning, some of them sometimes are still a little shocked. We got to do homeschool today? And you're like, yes, we are. But you've been doing this rhythm. They understand what is expected of them. Now, yes, it does take time, many times, that you still are reminding the child, did you feed the dog? It's the dog sitting there pouting next to the empty bowl of food. Oh, that's right. You're like, yes, we've had this dog for 10 years, and it's been your responsibility for the past 5 years. And they still have to remind you, but that's just a sign of maturity. And if you're looking for how to help with the chores, get things, if you're like, okay, how do I tell my kids? How do I convey this to them? How do I even lay out what their chores are? I want you to go over and check out the Tidy Home. That lays out for you as a whole, and then delegation is key. So you can get the link for that in the show notes. But everything's always on my website too, littlebylittlehomeschool.com. So let's go back to the definition. It's regular and repeated. In other words, most days during the week, this rhythm is going to be in place. However, if you have a day that is off, maybe something happens. Maybe the power went out at night and everybody kind of woke up, which you might be like, why did they wake up if the power went out? Well, maybe you sleep with sound machines or something like that. Or everything makes a noise if it in the house there's beeping or something that wakes everybody up because it went off, and then when it went back on it beeped, or whatever it was, or who knows what. Maybe everybody's just enjoying a nice long winter's nap and sleeps in a little bit. Just because you started a little bit later on that day, or maybe it's a day that's completely off, kids are sick, maybe it's just like a one day kind of thing, or you get called that you need to help, that someone's requesting help or something, whatever it is. Just because one day gets off doesn't mean that all of the days are lost. I talked about this specifically in an episode a couple of back last week. So make sure you go and check that out if you're like, okay, I need some help with figuring out that. Oh, that was the episode about what actually needs to happen. And so it does not mean that all of your days are lost. You have one day that's off, 2 days, 3 days, even if Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, your rhythm is completely off for whatever the reason is, and then things can get back to normal on Thursday, do your rhythm Thursday and Friday. There is actually just a sense of safety and security within that rhythm, even if your kids moan and groan and they might roll their eyes about the chores and the things that have to be done and, oh, I have to brush my teeth again. You're like, yes, you have these teeth for the rest of your life. Let's take care of them. And I promise, if you're struggling with teeth brushing, they will eventually start doing it. I never have to say anything to my kids, thank goodness, because that was a battle for many years. But regular and repeated, we're going to do it most days. And if things get thrown off, that doesn't mean that the entire week is thrown off and it's just like tossed in the pail and be like, who really cares? No, get back into it as soon as possible. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more help with this, more in depth, I want you to go over and check out your homeschool blueprint. And that's going to help after you get your family culture and your vision and your goals and your curriculum and everything like that all set. We will then work out in detail some of these things that we've talked about already and that we will talk about in just a moment. So if you're looking for that more in depth, I want to encourage you to go check out your homeschool blueprint, and that link is in the show notes too. All right, so let's talk about 3 specific time blocks that have to do with your homeschool day. And we're going to end our time blocks at like dinner time, because I assume you're going to have a rhythm, and we can talk in another episode about other rhythms outside of that. Exactly. But I kind of want to focus on how to accomplish your goals and the curriculum and all of the plans and using the resources and everything that you have gotten and that you want to do for the rest of this homeschool year. So I like to focus on 3 different time blocks during that time, between the time you get up and the time when dinner is on the table. And that would be your morning time block, your homeschool time block, and your afternoon time block. Morning time block might be an hour long, might be 30 minutes long. It might be 3 hours long. If you are somebody who gets up at 6 o'clock and you're like, I don't want to necessarily start with our homeschool. My kids aren't up until like 7:30. I don't want to start till 9. So you might have a morning time block of like 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And recognize that that's a schedule that has a time, but maybe you're just feeling a little under weather. You're just a little bit more tired. You just sleep a little bit longer and you don't get up till 6:30. Again, all is not lost. It will be okay. You get up and you just kind of start getting into your routine of what you do. And there were many years that I would just kind of bleary-eyed get up when my kids got up, and I would sleep longer than I wanted to. But I also kind of attributed that to the fact that maybe I just needed that sleep and all would be okay. But don't let something going off completely take you off. So what happens during that morning time block? Obviously, getting up might be the same time everybody is getting up, might be staggered times, but things like getting breakfast, getting morning chores or any kind of tidying up that you want to do, getting things like beds made and taking care of our personal daily habits, such as spending time in the Word, reading the Bible, making sure we get our teeth brushed, making sure maybe we get our face washed, making sure that we put on some clean clothing, that kind of stuff will fall into the morning time block. Maybe the dog needs to go for a walk during that time. You think, what is going to help me feel like I am accomplished, and then I can sit down and we can start on our homeschool, and I'm not going to be thinking to myself like, oh, I need to go do that. Oh, I need to go do that. I should have done that. No, during that morning time block, you're accomplishing those things that you can sit down and you can be fully present with your kids as you guys begin your homeschool time, which leads us into the second time block, and that is your homeschool time block. Now, you get to decide, again, what the hours are for this, and it doesn't always necessarily have to be a rigid, like you guys have got to start by this time or not. It might be like, okay, our goal is to start right now around 8:30 a.m., but in this season of life, that is a bit more fluid. There were times where that start time was fluid for me because I had a lot going on and a lot to do. And then it was not necessarily as fluid for my kids. I would say by 8:30, you have independent subjects that you can be working on. And I expect you guys to be doing that. There is no good reason for you not to have, maybe they're up at 7 a.m. There's no good reason as a 12-year-old for you not to be sitting in your seat at 8:30 and working on some type of independent work. You have your list of things to accomplish and you could go ahead and do that. So sometimes during that, as a mom, our time schedule is a little bit more fluid, or it can be a little bit more strict. So it really is looking at this homeschool year and this right now, this season, and what is going to be best. For many years, we had an 8:30 start. When I had all 3 kids, it was more of an 8:30 start. Then I think when I had the one, it was more of a 9 a.m. He was sleeping in. I think he was going through a growth spurt there in the early mid-teens, but now he's getting up early. And so we are back to having like an 8:30 start, and it's very easy for us to accomplish. And to be honest, I need that start time. And he and I start with morning time. And I need that start time because I will find another chore. I will find something else to do. I've been getting up lately. This sounds so crazy because this is not me for very long. I'll get up between like 5 and 6 and I don't set an alarm. It's when I wake up and I feel refreshed. I'm like, okay, my body is up and I've had enough sleep and I'm ready to go. However, I can do that because I make sure I get to bed the night before. And so I will get up and I will kind of just get the house kind of a little bit opened up, turn some lights on, and just low lights. I don't like big overhead lights, just things so as people are kind of getting up. My house, I would say, is busiest and most alive, and there's the most action would be from like 5:30 a.m. until about 6:45 a.m. All three of my kids, my daughter's heading to work, my two boys are heading to the gym, my husband's up, usually he's going out and taking a walk, and so there's like an in and out of the house. And so it's kind of a busy time, but I will then get the dishwasher emptied and take a look at what my meal plan has, like what are we doing for dinner, make sure I have things out. And then by 6:30, when most people are kind of out of the house and it's quiet for a little bit, I'll sit down with my Bible. And then I've been doing a 1 hour time block from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And I've been getting a lot done because I'm just super focused. Yes, I'm sitting there. My hair is still all kind of messy in a bun from the night before, and I'm in my pajamas, but I can just sit there. I'm like, I have 1 hour and I get a lot of tasks accomplished. And then 8 o'clock, I start to get myself ready, get washed up, get dressed, and put myself together. And at 8:30, we are starting our homeschool day. Was it always that kind of a strict of a schedule? No, it was oftentimes when they were younger, just more of a rhythm. And so if you have a lot of younger kids, focus on a rhythm. So the homeschool time block, you're going to include your morning time. And I am going to be adding a lesson into your homeschool blueprint about morning time because I've really found a routine just purely on my own. I know there's a lot of blog posts, there's books, there's videos, there's a lot of things out there. And I read and watched none of them and put together what has really been successful for our homeschool. And I would love to be able to share that more with you. So that's going to be very soon coming to your homeschool blueprint. If you're in your homeschool blueprint, you will have access to that. And I'll send you an email and let you know when that is included in it. And so during your homeschool time, you're going to do your science projects. Maybe you're going to get your morning time. You're going to get your Bible time. You're going to do your independent subjects. And then the afternoon time block, you get to decide what's going to happen. If you have a baby that's napping, that is definitely included in that. Maybe you do some lessons with some kids. You don't have to have a hard end time for it. It might say, well, it's best to have a baby and a toddler and they're still taking naps. So it's best for me to do math lessons with the kids at that time when they're not running around and getting into things. Quiet time, if your family wants to do some type of quiet time in the afternoon, time outside, you get to decide what that is, with the thought of when do I need to start making dinner? And that's kind of towards the end of the afternoon time block. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I said this was going to be a shorter and sweeter one. Hopefully it's been sweet, but it's not necessarily shorter. I just enjoy talking to you all and just hopefully encouraging. But if you are creating a new rhythm, a lot of times at the new year, we're creating new rhythms. And if you were in Reimagine Your Homeschool, you learned how to do that. If you missed out on Reimagine Your Homeschool, just get over into your homeschool blueprint. It's like the bigger and more like on steroids, we'll say, way of figuring all of this out. But if you're creating a new rhythm, you have to give it time. Don't just do it one day and say, oh, all is lost. My kids didn't catch on to it. Don't even just do it 2 days. You have to do it for days and weeks. It might take months. And then you're going to take your summer break and things are going to be different. You're going to establish a new rhythm. Come the next homeschool year, the kids might be like, what are you talking about? And you're going to have to possibly show them again how to get into this rhythm. It's consistency is what is going to help them figure out the rhythm. And then you showing them how to adapt and how to have some, add some margin in, which I want to encourage you that you are the leader of this. You set the example and you be the one that's an example and they will follow your lead. I promise you. Make sure you allow for margin and make sure you allow for grace. It's not going to be perfect. No day is going to have that perfect routine. No day is going to have that perfect rhythm. You're just going to have an idea of how this is going to go, and you're going to do the best that you can each day and stay consistent. I'm so excited about the beginning of 2026. I've just have some great goals and some ideas for the year, and I'm going to ask you if you could do me a favor. And in honor of kicking off 2026, if you can go ahead and leave a review for Little by Little Homeschool Podcast, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're on Apple, you can hopefully leave a 5-star rating, and then leave a review would be maybe leaving a sentence or two. Maybe it's about a specific episode or just in general. If you are on Spotify, I know you can leave a comment on a specific episode, possibly this one, or go back to another one that was your favorite. And other podcast apps, hopefully you can leave one as well. That would really help me out. And I would greatly appreciate it and encourage me as we get further into the new year. So I hope this episode has helped you to create a daily rhythm for your homeschool.